everybody. Welcome to Talk Tuesday, a series created to empower youth and families through meaningful conversations. Brought to you by Steps Foundation Incorporated, this series blends advocacy and education to support your personal, academic, and social development of young people. So, each month, we explore topics that truly matter, that are designed to strengthen your self-awareness, your spark, your growth, and also equip you with practical tools to thrive in every area of your life. I'm Maya Tasker, your host and community engagement team lead here at Steps Foundation Incorporated. This April, we're focusing on something that can truly set you up for success, preparing for summer internships and job opportunities. The summer isn't just time off, you guys, it's an opportunity to step into your future. So, whether you're applying for your first job or you're exploring internship options, or even just trying to build your confidence in professional spaces, this month is all about helping you get ready to stand out. We'll be breaking down everything you need, from creating a resume that captures attention, to preparing for interviews with confidence, to understanding what it means to show up professionally and make a strong impression once you land that opportunity. The goal isn't perfection here, it's preparation. And each step that you take now is an investment into who you're becoming. So let's dive in and build those skills and get you ready to show up, stand out, and succeed this summer. Over to you, Abby.
Hey, y'all. So I love this portion today because today we are literally talking about how our students can find the right fit for them. And so my question to you guys, the very first question, how can teens figure out what type of job fits them?
I think that the only way really is to start experiencing different things and just like going with whatever comes for you at that moment, and then you'll figure out how you feel. Just depending on how you feel, you'll see what really fits for you.
I was gonna say, like, if you have something that you know you're really passionate about, kind of go down that lane, but still like experiment with other things that you think you might like, or like things that are going down a different alley that you might like, so that you can experience different things and kind of like see what you like if you did this.
I remember when I was a teen, back in my day. So back in my day, I there was a point in time where I really wasn't sure what I was passionate about, and it was kind of like really hard to pinpoint what step to take in what direction. Now, like Abigail said, it's really about, experience. You learn the most through that. But also now, if you're not sure about what you're passionate about or what you want to pursue, there are these online personality tests that you can take. And they're pretty popular, I think. And those help you figure out where you fit best, I think, or what would call to you the most based on your personality. I think they have like career options on there, like as a little tidbit of information. So that's also something to check out.
I love that you bring that up because I'm a huge advocate for using ONET. ONET has one of those career profiler things on there where you can do the assessment and it's based on things that you enjoy and like, and then it'll give you like multiple career pathways or job pathways, and it will section it out based on what you need to have to move up to another position, right? So it'll explain to you what you're able to qualify for if you're just a student coming out with a high school diploma. It'll explain what types of positions you can apply for if you go and get an AA or an AS. It'll explain what you can do if you have a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD, or if you go and get certain certifications. So I love how it breaks it down for students who are trying to figure out the what do I really want to do and what do I need to have in order to get to the thing that I really want. It's also a great way for that exploration. So I really do feel like I love all of those responses because they're a combination, right? And oftentimes, like you have to do more than one thing to really figure out what it is you feel fits you. They even have like a workplace environment one that's kind of like similar to that personality profile. So you fill out a bunch of questions about things that you value, and it'll talk to you about workplace culture and what types of places actually fit based on your personality. And I think those are really cool to utilize as well to understand like what are the things that like steer you away from a job or things that you absolutely feel like you would hate in a job. Which brings me to my next question. What are signs that a job is just not the right fit?
I think that like you just don't feel right and like comfortable in where you're at, and especially when you like dread going to work. Because I mean, like this is not just work, but you know anything in general. Because it's one thing to not like wanting not to work, but not wanting to be in that environment. I feel like you can tell it's not the right fit for you.
Yeah, if you don't feel right in that environment, especially coming in or out of, you know that's not for you, especially if you can't enjoy what you do. It's like if you can't enjoy what you do to a certain extent, then the real question is why are you still here for the money? Because that's not how you should be here.
I feel like a good way to pinpoint also if it might not be a good fit for you right off the bat is if like your values don't really align with their mission or what they're about. I remember Abby, you were talking about this at some point. I'm getting all my ideas from you. Um, but yeah, it's like if I can't think of an example. I might ask for some help here. But yeah, if your values don't align, then there's gonna be some clashing.
I love that because I 100% agree. I feel like things that are not a good fit. If you're a person that doesn't like you are just not a fast paced worker, then being in a fast paced environment may not be for you. And there are some jobs where they will tell you, we work really fast over here. So like you have to be a quick learner and you got to be ready to go, 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 go. And a lot of times those end up being your high stress positions, but everybody doesn't respond well to stress, right? Or stressful situations. So that may be one that's not a good fit for you. If you're a person who has sound sensitivity, because I know some people are very sensitive to noise, being in environments where it echoes, so like working in a warehouse where noise echoes, where it's like loud clashing and banging, those environments may not be a good fit for you if you know that you have sound sensitivity. So those are the kinds of things to keep in mind. What role do you guys feel mentorship plays in students being successful in finding the fit for them?
I think it is a way to like help them with where they're going and show them like some clarity on what situation they're in or like what they want to do when they, you know, when they grow up or whatever, whatever. And try to find like what their best fit is.
I feel like that feedback to whatever they're trying to do. So like if you're trying to go this way, they're gonna be like, okay, I support that. But with your skill set, we can also go this way. Having that support and feedback.
I love mentorship because it's really you talking to like the master of what you're trying to do. Like they have that firsthand experience and you can ask all the questions and you're actually encouraged to ask questions, so it's pretty cool too. I feel like it's one thing to go and Google something, but another thing to hear it from somebody who has lived it, breathed it, worked it, and who can answer your specific questions that are like specific to you and your situation. And this is super helpful. Mentorship is amazing.
1,000%. I feel like mentors are there to help you explore. So sometimes where you might get stuck, they're there to kind of push you through, ask you the tough questions. And y'all, they're good for practice too, y'all. So you know how we talked about like them interviews last week and preparing yourself for the interview? Man, if y'all don't utilize them mentors, like come help me do interview prep. Look over my resume. And sometimes like your mentors are able to help open doors for you as well. So based on like what they know about you, things that they've to help you with, mentors are really there to kind of be that push and that support as you're continuing to journey through what that looks like. How do you guys feel parents can help support the process of you guys finding a job that's the right fit for you?
By them being supportive, like no matter what you choose, and just reassuring that they'll always be there for, their child, and just helping in any way that they can.
I love that.
I have nothing else to add to that. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Play that, Abby, you clocked that.
No, girl, I agree. Like it's just support and being there for you. That and like, I don't know, coaching tips, but that's like basically the same thing. Like you already got it. Period, Abby.
I love it. I love it. What questions do you think teens should ask before they accept a position?
Um, I think asking like how they can grow in the I think I said this before in like the last one, but how they can grow in the company so that way they're not just like stuck in one spot. And also like yeah, like and also like maybe the weaknesses and the strengths of the company so they can see both the ups and the downs.
What kind of environment is this workplace? What are some things you do well in this environment? And what are some things we need to work on? Because if you should be hiring someone, you shouldn't be hiring the same person 14 times. You should be hiring somebody to improve the work environment so that you can do better all around. Again, you should not be hiring the same type of person infinite amount of times because that's not going to end well.
Yeah. Um, I think also an important question to ask is about the schedule because I understand that high schoolers do have a strict academic schedule. Um, I remember that being kind of like a question that I had. Like I wanted to be a restaurant, I wanted to be a server or whatever, but I was in school, my school ended at 3 and I was on the other side of town, so I could only get there at 4. They're like, these positions start at 2, and I was like, well, like can I, you know what I mean? Like you kind of had to work with them or at least let them know of your schedule beforehand and make sure it doesn't conflict. So it's good to at least get that out of the way before you say yes or no.
I love all of these questions. So here's one I'm going to add for y'all that I know a lot of students don't think about. But as you're preparing, right, for your graduation day, as your senior year approaches, you guys ask those jobs if they have scholarships. Because some companies offer scholarships to high school students. And so you want to know if you're working for a company that has scholarship opportunities because you can be applying. And sometimes, depending on where you're working, they may just choose one or two from that specific location, even if it's like a franchise or a chain where they choose thousands at a time. Sometimes that local branch is able to choose one, and you may just be the one to get that scholarship. So ask if they have scholarship opportunities as well for those of you who are deciding to go to college. Um, Even think about like if you're planning to get a certification or go do a tech program, they offer scholarships for that too sometimes. And especially if it's a certification or a tech skill that can be applied to their environment. So those are opportunities that I think are worth asking about as you guys are trying to navigate what to do after high school or if there's additional opportunities after high school. So ask those questions. I think those are often things that are missed that are awesome opportunities for you guys that don't require a whole lot. But asking a question. What suggestion would you guys give to teens that are looking to kind of build their networks?
I would say to like attend everything they can and just keep asking questions, meeting different people and not being scared to um communicate and just, open, like broaden your horizons.
Come on, broaden your horizons.
Network everywhere. Every single space you're in, network. There's always someone in the room that could possibly get you where you want to go, especially in the spaces we're in, especially like in YPA and all like stuff, foundation stuff. A lot of the spaces we're in because of you, Miss Ma'am. hmm Because the spaces we're in, there's a lot of people that could get me where I want to go in the future. And you know what we do? Network. We talk to them. We ask questions. We have conversations because those impacts can last a long time. Them people will remember you.
That's 1,000% because people definitely remember. And I love like when you guys are in a room, because one thing about it, like when you're in a room full of professional adults, they always remember the young adults in the room because they don't often see them, right? And so this is a great way for you guys to stand out and make your mark. So I love you guys saying like just show up in spaces, even your school spaces. So if there's clubs, if there's what else do y'all have at school? Because I know y'all have clubs. I know that there are some organizations. What else do you guys typically have that you could turn into like a networking experience at your schools?
Sometimes there's like events that the clubs host or just like the school hosts. I don't know.
I love that. I love that. Would you guys consider like when people are showing up for sports events, so like the football games, the basketball games, track games, soccer games, do you guys see those as potential networking opportunities?
I was
So you,
gonna say some of the meetings that they host,
yes,
especially because a lot of the people from like the district or like those higher ups show up there every once in a while to kind of like pop in and see what's going on.
100%. If your school has a PTA, um, like any of those parent boards, oftentimes they're looking for students to serve in the room too. So don't miss opportunities to show up in that space as well, because parents are also open connectors for you young people too. And so even if you don't know whose student the parent belongs to, right? Just knowing that the parent in general can help open doors for you. So I love, like, yes, use everything as a spot to network. Now, we say use everything as a spot to network. What would you tell a student that doesn't even know what networking is? Like, what should they do in order to network?
You see someone in the spot you want, talk to them, hold that conversation. Don't be afraid to go up to them and be like, hey, who are you? What do you do? Like, what are the ins and outs of this job? Or like, what are the positions that are within your company? Because trust me, if you would start asking those questions early and kind of hold that conversation with someone, especially in the place of like power in that company, or someone that's like kind of climbed the ranks for that, they're gonna remember you. They're gonna maybe seek you out in the future so that they can have that opportunity again.
Sorry. Like I said, in, like the last answer, you can just like attend as many events as you can, and like he said, just talk to everyone you can, and then you'll grow your networking as time goes on.
My go-to for networking usually is like, okay, so let's say like a guest speaker comes and joins, does something at our school. Afterwards, you talk to them, you're like, hi, my name is Maya, you shake their hand. You're like, oh, I love what you did, blah, 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 blah. Like show that you are familiar with what they do or that you paid attention. And then come with a question prepared. Like Lamar said, like if you plan a question, that's kind of how you start the seed of the conversation, and then usually it branches from there. And if it doesn't, at least like you got your foot in the door and you made an impression. Like he saw your face, and that's what matters because there's a billion names on the screen, but like in person matters more.
I love what all of you said, right? Because even for students who feel shy and are scared to like just start off in asking a question, like I love start with one question. And so typically is, what is it that you do? Like, hi, my name is, what's your name and what is it that you do, right? And I feel like those personal connections are what opens the door. Like when you start asking some of those personal type of questions, it's open-ended, which allows them to explain more about what they do. And then you're listening more than you have to talk, especially for those of you who have like social anxiety or like you're scared to like walk up to a person, or maybe you're more introverted than extroverted. And so having one question or two questions in your back pocket to start with is literally what networking is all about. So really is networking is just having a conversation and getting something out of it. I always tell people, like, when you think about like going in and you're saying you want to grow your network, know what you're going in the room for. So if your goal is to leave knowing one additional person, listen to what everybody's saying they do, and then tackle that one person that you would really want to get information from. And if you feel up to it, tackle two. Because one may reach out and one may not. So at least you have a secondary in your back pocket, right? I feel like all of those were great tips and awesome things for students to know, or even like those who may have just graduated from high school. So my young adults that are still trying to figure out what networking looks like as you're trying to grow your network. These are great. Let's see. How can a student avoid a toxic work environment?
You got to know your boundaries right out. Like, you have to know your boundaries. Make sure you establish those. Maybe you don't have to tell them, like, walking in, like, I'm not okay with this, that, just so you know. But knowing in your heart and in your head, like, what's something you draw a hard line at. If you understand what a toxic environment is first and foremost, because sometimes you might even be in one and not even know, you know? So I guess that's something to look into. And then once you learn how to recognize that, look for the signs and know when enough is enough, because there's always another job. If it's toxic, you don't need to be there. You are destined for better things than that.
I think like asking the right questions and like she said, like looking for the signs and not ignoring them just because you want a job or. Um, and yeah, knowing your worth and knowing you're better than someone treating you wrong or whatever it is.
But sometimes you have to understand, if you know you're in a toxic environment, sometimes you gotta understand you're the bigger person. You can leave people where they at. Because look, if you understand what a toxic environment means to you and what those do's and don'ts are for you, especially like when it comes to people repeatedly crossing those boundaries, because that's what a toxic environment is, people repeatedly crossing your boundaries, even though they know what they are. If you see that constantly in your environment, leave them where they at, because they don't deserve you in that environment.
Absolutely. And also too, like a telltale sign for me of like a just a not good place to be is um like if everyone in there is talking bad about each other, you're like, whoa. You know what I mean? But I'm not talking like, everyone gets mad, everyone, you know what I mean? But I mean like on a whole other level, you know? I'm not sure how to explain it, but I saw it a lot when I was serving. Like, I don't know, that's just one thing.
Listen, I understand where you was going with that one, Maya, because a toxic environment, right? If you are in an environment where you're working with a bunch of people who are gossipers, because if
That's what
they're
it is.
gossiping about others, they're gossiping about you too. And so sometimes that can become very overwhelming, especially after being around it for so long. And then the chronic complainers, the ones that complain, 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 but they never do anything about it, but they just complain, 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 complain. All those things typically, like at the end of the day, they start to take a toll on you. And so the negativity that you're around and that you consume will turn you into a negative person as well. And so when we think about like toxic environments, just remembering that sometimes when you're around it, you become it. And so recognizing it is key. So I love what you all said, right? Like understanding your boundaries, understanding that sometimes you can be the bigger person, and knowing that this is not the end all be all job, which brings me to my next question, because I think this one is also just as important. How can students distinguish the difference between a job and a career?
A job is your short term. That's something you're doing for right now to get your foot in the door. A career is something you doing long term. That's the thing that you gonna be sticking with. That's the thing that you're passionate about 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I think a career is something that you're like you want to do that forever, and it's something you truly want to do. And even though like a job also can be that, I feel like a job is more just to, sometimes just to get money or like just to start off, get the experience, but a career is like really what you are passionate about, like he said.
Yeah, I think it's all about longevity. And I totally agree with what you said, Abigail, where it's like a job can turn into a career. Like I know a bunch of people who started teaching just as like a hold me over, like, oh, let me just do this really quick for the summer. And then it ended up, being their passion and they pursued it for the rest of their lives. It's like kind of like if you think, well, if I wake up 30 years from now and I get up and I go to the same place, like would that make me happy? Um and like for the people who started teaching and they wanted to run with it, and the answer was yes, like boom, it became their career. But it's about a career is like when you're building up that ladder, like what you said, Lamar, getting your foot in the door. A job is like entry and careers, like you're building on it. There's experience, there's knowledge, there's a lot of things behind it.
Y'all better come through, come through. I feel like this question is also important. And so, what is one mistake that teenagers make when they're choosing their job?
I think going like straight off just about the pay and not really caring about if they can even, do the job correctly or like if the environment is good or anything like that.
Not asking about benefits and like other things that are outside of money. And also not understanding what toxicity is, not even in terms of a workplace, just like in general, understanding what a toxic environment is in general.
I think the biggest mistake you could make is say yes on the spot without thinking about it. Like you got to think it through because once you commit, you commit. That's like your reputation, that's your resume. It's like you really have to understand it through and through. Even if you know you wanted that job, even if you were super excited for it, don't say yes right on the spot. Take some time to think about it. Be like, oh, hey, like, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm whatever, whatever, and I'll get back to you. Um, yeah, because the whole world is out there and it's for you. And it's like you want to make sure if you're committing to something, you're doing it right or that it serves you in the best way that it should.
Hold on, let me throw this diamond in the plate because I hear y'all. Where my diamonds at?
I didn't know we had a diamond. That's so funny.
Girl, we got diamonds. Look,
Oh my goodness, all the minerals. Okay.
y'all giving it tonight. Okay. So I know you guys talk about boundaries, right? And then understanding like your environment when you're there, but how can teams communicate their needs or boundaries within the workplace? Because sometimes it's hard to do.
I think making it clear from the beginning and like, because usually when you're doing your interview, they like ask questions about yourself and you can, put those boundaries in while you're talking and all that. And then also just same thing with like timing and like your schedule. Just make sure they already know from the beginning. So it's not like a surprise to them.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, but also when it comes to like that toxic environment we were talking about, if someone makes a mistakes and cross their boundaries, say it, and you shouldn't have to say it again. Like, especially when it comes to personal boundaries.
I think it's important to know who to go to for what. Like if you have a coworker that is really bothering you, like obviously the first well, I don't know if obviously, but the first thing that I would do is communicate that to them, be like, "Hey, like maybe quit that." Say it professionally, you know. But again, like Lamar said, if they keep pushing it, then you kind of have to go up, not like over their head, but like, "Hey, I tell your boss like, "Hey, I addressed this person like this is like, you know what I mean? Your boss is there to help you. If they need to intervene, they will. Or if I know that some, like if you're in an office position, there might be like an HR department. But the key is to be respectful in whatever you're saying to whoever it is and just make sure you're being clear. Because if you're being delicate around it, if you're like, oh, I don't really like it when I just feel like they're not gonna respect that. You have to be like, I don't like it, you know, look them in their eyes. I don't I actually don't know the right language for this, but I yeah, Abby, help me out here.
I think that was very clear, right? Like when you're saying like I don't like when X, Y, and Z happens. So we're a firm believer in using I statements, right? Because I statements take the blame away. Like now it's not accusing a person. So I feel very overwhelmed when, and then you explain the when, right? So it's not saying what I don't like is that you be walking in here yelling all the time and screaming like that. That's just not it for me. So like now you're not blaming them for a thing that they do. You're explaining what your boundary is and what you need in that moment in order for you to continue. So just being very outright and blunt. So I feel like also know the person that you're talking to. So I know sometimes you can be in a very supportive environment, but let's be real, how often is that? Right. And especially when it comes to some of our teams and they're working in like a store or like a fast-paced environment. Sometimes supervisors are not the easiest to talk to to try to assert your boundary, but telling them anyway is what you need to do because at the end of the day, you're still a human first. You're still a person. And so you should be able to express and share your boundaries without it feeling like you can't open up and say a thing. And as long as you're keeping it respectful, what can they really say? Other than they don't like the fact that you gave a boundary. But again, I feel like that's also part of growing into the adult that you want to become, right? Oftentimes it does require you to be able to open up and share when something isn't what you expected or when you feel like again like there's more that you want out of a situation or more that you want out of that position and job. So you're not saying I'm quitting, you just say this is my boundary or this is something that I don't like and it's hard for me to operate under that. What role do you guys feel that feedback plays into you guys finding the right fit for a position?
I think feedback allows you to know um maybe like what you're doing wrong, but also what you're doing right, and seeing like if you really fit, you know what I mean? And it just depends on how you feel also in that moment and just how you respond to the feedback as well.
Only being able to see yourself in a certain position from an outside lens. Like if you apply to this position, they can be like, okay, I see you applied for this, but like I feel like with your skill set and what you've done and what you do, you'd be better in this position doing this.
I think feedback is so important. I think that it's an opportunity to kind of like grow. I mean, it depends on what it's for, I suppose. But I think feedback generally is just good if it's constructive. And it kind of helps you be better at what you're doing because when you're in the middle of it all, you're not going to be able to see like clearly, especially if you're not super familiar with the field or the position. So someone more well-versed, like a coworker or your boss is like, hey, like you should be doing this. And if they give you that constructive criticism, like it helps you because you know you keep it and you apply it and then you become better at what you're doing.
Let's see, y'all. Let's see. I don't got no more diamonds to put in the plate, y'all. So the plate is full. I'm just saying. I love these responses because I think they are so helpful, especially to students if they're listening, and parents too if they're listening for ways to help support their students. And I love all the responses that y'all are giving. I feel like I need more diamonds or something. Like I don't know, I gotta find me more diamonds for our plate. What do you think is the importance of adaptability when trying out different roles?
It's important when trying out different roles because it allows you to learn different things while also um, not like trying your best and not just automatically giving up just because you're not used to it. So
Being able to have different professional experiences without the full cost of just being able to commit it full time, like being expected to do certain things. So it's like adaptability is more like understanding that, okay, I need to work on this and this is my opportunity to work on this, but I'm not fully expected to do this full time for a career.
I think adaptability is super important when you're first starting a role as well, because if you're not super familiar with every single little detail that the job entails or would entail, it's I guess it's just a matter of okay, like kind of um learning the ropes, is that the term? I'm not sure. But learning the ropes, figuring out what works, because the way that you would approach something might differ from the way that somebody else would approach something. It matters also a lot in team environments where you have to sometimes kind of meet in the middle to get things done. Um, but yeah, I think what you said, Lamar, is a really strong point about having to understand like, oh, going a little bit out of your scope, but that it's not supposed to be like, you know, you're adapting to somebody else's needs, but it's not like a permanent change because you also have your own needs and your own boundaries in your role.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Look, adaptability is so important, and for all those reasons that you guys have mentioned, right? Because again, you want to be flexible. You want to show that you're willing to learn and grow. Because no matter what position they put you in, if they know that you're a person that adapts, that you become that person they depend on to do additional things. So when the promotion is coming up, you're the person that they're gonna look at. I feel like we should all show that we're willing and ready to learn. We're willing and ready to grow. And that's essentially what adaptability is all about. Do you guys know what job shadowing is?
is it like when you like go along with someone who is doing like their job and just seeing how they do everything?
Yes, 100%. So I'm really gonna age myself, y'all, because back in my day, because I'm old, but it's okay. So back when we used to actually be able to job shadow during school hours. So like they would have like a job shadow day. So we would be able to like request to go to whoever's job and say, hey, we want to shadow for a day. I don't think you guys have that now, do you?
When
Because I love mine.
when I volunteered at teen court before I became like a teen attorney, they made me shadow the other attorneys. So it's kind of like
I love it. I love it.
Bro, you did what? Oh my God, tell
Yeah.
me about it. That is so cool. Stop. Tell me, tell me.
yeah, it was like real, like it was real cases, and you should look into it. Actually, it was like really, it was fun.
Oh my God, that is so
Yeah.
sick. I will definitely be looking into that. Oh my God. Period.
I love that students get to do teen court because it is real cases that they play each role as well. So it's students doing each role. The students are the jury as well. So it's like, yeah, it is so real. And I love this because it's an experience. Which also gives you guys exposure to additional job opportunities, but also exposure to understanding your civic duties as a citizen. And so I think that is like the most amazing thing that students can ever be exposed to is showing up and participating in team court. Um, but the reason why I bring up job shadowing, right, is because I feel like students often feel like they have to say yes to a thing even when they've never been exposed to it because they're unsure. But you can also ask to shadow in positions and in jobs, no matter where you go. Like asking the question will only get you one of two answers, right? And so even if somebody comes in next, find another office or another corporation or organization that has a similar role because they just might say yes. So if you've ever thought about being an attorney, the courthouse does shadowing. If you ever thought about being a doctor, the hospital may allow you to shadow. They may not let you go into a patient's room, but they will allow you to make other rounds with them so that you can do other things and see what it's like in the life of, whether it's a tech, whether it's the doctor, whether it's the nurse. But oftentimes they will say yes to you guys being able to shadow. So I feel like job shadowing is just as important as everything else so that you can get that exposure and know if that's a job that you really want to work in. So even if like you decided like, hey, I'm just gonna be like, well, a patient tech or something like, or the clerk at the receptionist at the front desk of the doctor's office or the hospital. At least shadowing the other roles allows you to see what it's going to look like if you are that receptionist, because the brunt of the work falls on the person at the front desk because you see every emergency as it comes in. You have to deal with every client or every patient as they come in, and then they go to the doctor or to the nurse or whatever else. But you get to see what it's like in the life of all those other roles before you take on an additional position. So I feel like job shadowing is something that's slept on a lot, as well as internships. But I know for high school students, internships are often hard to find. But this is where, we're going to throw our shameless plug in because Career Source, y'all, if you didn't know, Career Source has open summer camp, well, not even summer camp, but summer internships for students where you go in and you get paid during the summer to work at other organizations or companies that are willing to take students in. So we've been a partner with Career Source for the last 4 years, where we've taken in high school students and we get to teach them a thing. So you guys, if you are looking to get your feet wet in any industry or any field, look at Career Source, because just like people are choosing you, you get to choose them. You get to say, this is what I'm looking at. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. So tap into Career Source if you're curious about what that could look like for you. So the last question I'm going to ask you guys, what advice would you give to a student who is choosing their first job? Because I know sometimes that is the toughest part. You've been looking, you probably got several no's, and now somebody might be willing to say yes to you, but like, what would you say to the student who is choosing
I
their
would
first?
tell them not to like stress about it and really look into it. And you don't have to choose, you don't have to like take the first thing you get. Like more opportunities will come. And if it's not something that will fit with maybe your schedule or like, some things that you align with, you don't have to do it because you got it. You know what I mean?
Keep your self-worth and understand what your boundaries are before you even get in for that interview. Because that interview can go a million different ways. You know what isn't going to change? You, your boundaries, and your needs. So always keep that in mind when you're going into that.
I would say that you don't have to say yes to the first person that offers you a hand just because it's there. It's kind of like the same principle, like you don't have to settle for less just because there's nothing else around, kind of thing. I guess it's a different application for jobs. but it's the general principle, you know what I mean? Like, of course, if you're interested, think about it for a little bit, but don't feel like it's the only option that I have. Because like I said, the whole world's out there. Jobs can sometimes feel like stressful searching for one because if you feel like the field is narrow, but once you connect to the resources that can really expand your horizon, like you said, Abby, with the with Career Source or through Steps Foundation or like mentors or networking, just there's so many options out there. So don't just settle for less if there's more out there. Settle for something that you want, something that works for you.
I love these. And then the only thing I would add is be patient. Be patient, because I know oftentimes like we'll hear it 1,000 times. Students will be like, I just want a job, I just want a job, I just want a job. Miss, I'm looking, I keep applying, and I'm not getting anything. I just want a job. Be patient. And I know that's so cliche and it's so hard to do when you are like, I want it and I want it now. But patience is key. The when you assert that patience and the right job comes along, you won't feel like you're rushing to just say yes and making a decision because you want it and you want it now. So I would say just be patient, guys, and know that the right fit is coming your way. And grow from there. Like y'all did that.
I
Yes.
want to add to that. Being patient is important, but also if you want to speed up the process a little bit, my go-to when I was searching for jobs as a teenager, like I said, there's a million names online. Like they get in like a bunch of different resumes. If you want to make an impression, you want to speed up the process, you call, not even, or you could just show up, be like, "Hi, do you guys," whatever, like put your face out there, whether you have like a little question or like, oh, are you guys hiring? Like, is your manager in? Things like that, you know? I think that's actually how I got my last job as a teacher. I dropped off my resumes, but it was like I was kind of in a pinch, you know? I was like, oh my God, like I need to get this job right now, like rent's coming up. Um, and I was like, you know what? And so I went in person to every single place that I applied for, um, just to like ask a question or something, or like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, just look for
Yeah.
any reason to
Because it
show up.
matters. It matters.
Yeah.
Like it shows them, one, that you're still interested,
Hmm.
and two, that you want it, right?
Uh-huh.
Because they'll get a ton of people that apply and they're like, okay, well, we're good, we can wait. But when you're showing that interest, sometimes that interest can help. But also be mindful that some companies will actually post for you not to call or come by. So so
Okay,
make
maybe
sure
not.
that, well, no, not even saying maybe not, but like if you're a student, if you're a teen especially, and you're looking at Indeed, read their entire Indeed description, because I have seen where they have put on there, do not call us and do not come to our office.
Oh
So
man.
make sure that and I'm gonna tell you why a lot of them do it. So you know how, like, when we talked about last week about interview skills and what you should be paying attention to, and even when we talked in week 1 about resume writing and when you're applying to jobs, right? One of the main things that employers look for is attention to detail. And a lot of people will say, yes, I'm good with attention to detail. And they've written in that description things for you to do. And you apply and you don't do none of the things they told you to do. So be mindful, if you're a person that is going to show up, if you found that job on Indeed or you found it on another like job platform, like a job board, read the entire description to make sure that you are complying with what they ask. So if they said it's great that you're sending us your resume via this platform, but we need you to go to our website and do the application, please do the application, because chances are if you didn't do that application and all you did was send your resume, that's why you're not getting called back. If they told you, hey, we need you to send a cover letter and a resume to this email address because we're not checking anything on Indeed, and all you did was send that resume on Indeed, they're not calling you back because you didn't follow directions. So the attention to detail and then following directions is thrown right out the window when they're looking for those things specifically. So they will put things within certain descriptions to see if you're paying attention and actually reading. So make sure that you thoroughly read the descriptions when you're applying, whether you're sending your resume or you're reaching out to them, so that you do things properly and you don't get caught up and then you're wondering why you're not being called back. But I do agree with you, Maya.
Sorry.
Showing up is key.
Yeah, I like halfway through a conversation, I remembered what I actually did. So I would print out my resume and I would drop it off and then I would apply. But I would like, make that impression first and then they would recognize my name when it popped up. So what's like your opinion on that?
Oh
I
no,
hope it's okay, 'cause
I'm
that's what I
cool with that.
did. I did a lot of
Listen,
that.
listen, sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, especially if it's something in your backyard, right? It's something that's close to you where it's drivable and you can go there. Showing up and showing your face, it does matter. So like students who want to work in like the outlets, or students who want to work inside retail stores, restaurants, things like that. And even like some businesses, local businesses that have office positions that you guys could be applying for. Showing up is key, especially if it's around you. Hey, are you guys hiring? I would really love to fill out an application. But can I drop my resume off? Is there someone that I can ask questions to? Sometimes they're gonna be like, "Oh, we ain't got time for no questions." Okay, when can I come back and who can I talk to? Ask for names. Don't be afraid to ask for names, because now if you got a name, that's who you're reaching out to. And I'm the person too. I'm like, you got an email address and a phone number, so I can reach them directly. And I'll like, even though when you come in, like you're looking for that person, but sometimes we know they're busy. So, hey, can I schedule an appointment with you? Can I schedule a time to just come and ask you questions? And then this way, it kind of gives you that one-on-one relationship building before actually applying and getting hired. These are also the people that you could be like, hey, can I just shadow so that I can see what the work environment is like? So again, like building rapport and building relationships, I think is so important and key to you guys being able to land the position, especially if it's something that you've heard about and you're like, I'm curious to know what it's like, but not really sure that I want to work there yet. Shadow. Volunteer. You're like, do you guys have volunteer opportunities? Volunteers, and then you can see the behind the scenes as well before actually applying. So now you get to see their culture of work, how they talk to and treat their employees. And you get to see all those things up front before actually working there. Oh, these are good conversations, y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. All right. So before we wrap up, our conversation for the rest of the day, because we've been talking about, preparing for opportunities, building resumes, showing up with confidence, because that's important, and just getting ready for summer jobs and internships. But preparation isn't just about getting the opportunity. It's also about becoming the kind of person who's ready for those opportunities. So now I'm going to pass it over to one of our youth program ambassadors to share how you can take that next step.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Abigail Robles, a youth program ambassador with Steps Foundation, and I've got a real question for you. Are you actually preparing for your future or just thinking about it? Because thinking about it won't get you the opportunity, but preparation and action will. This month, we've been talking about resumes, interviews, and job opportunities, but let me keep it real with you. Opportunities don't just go to the most talented, they go to the most prepared and involved. And that's exactly where we come in. Youth Program Ambassador open enrollment is still open for the 2026 to 2027 school year, and we're looking for students who are ready to step up and stand out. If this is for you, if you're ready to step into leadership, not just talk about it, build real confidence in how you speak, present, and show up, gain hands-on experience that actually prepares you for jobs and internships, and be part of something bigger, where your voice actually matters. If you've ever thought, I want to do more, I want to grow, I want to stand out, this could be your moment. But you have to take the first step. And we're not just building leaders, we're creating space for real conversations too. Join us for our mental health initiative, the Green Space Virtual Panel, on May 15th at 6 p.m. This is a powerful space where we're bringing real voices together to talk about mental health, real challenges, and real solutions, because success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about how you take care of yourself along the way. Now let's talk about how you can get connected right now. On April 27th at 6:30 p.m., there's the virtual teen program open house. And this is if you want to learn more from the comfort of your own home. We'll walk you through all of our students' programs, leadership, life skills, mental health, and career readiness so you can see exactly how STEPS Foundation supports your growth. You'll be able to ask questions, meet the team, and find the program that fits you best. On April 28th at 6 p.m., there's an in-person teen program open house where everything comes to life. You can come meet us in person, connect with other students, and experience the energy of our programs firsthand. You'll get a feel for the environment, learn what it's like to be a part of our community, and see how you can grow, lead, and get involved. Listen, your future doesn't start later. It starts with the decisions you make now. So don't sit on the sidelines. Don't wait until it's too late. Register today at www.stepsfoundation.org/events. Bring a friend, tell your family, and come see what your next level looks like. Because you're not just preparing for a summer, you're preparing for your life.
Oh my goodness, that was powerful. I got like goosebumps with that first question. Okay, yes, absolutely. Okay, guys. So, like she said, preparation isn't about just having everything figured out, right? It's about being willing to learn and show up and also take that next step forward. So, just like any journey, it won't always feel easy, but it will always be worth it. So, this month we're leaning into conversations about building strong resumes. That includes showing up confidently in interviews, finding the right opportunities, and sorry, understanding what it means to carry yourself professionally. Success doesn't just come from opportunity, it comes from that preparation meeting the moment. So, that being said, showing up ready isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It's about putting in the effort, believing in your potential, and taking every single experience, whether it's big or small, and you take them as a chance to grow. So, as you move forward, try to remember this. You don't always have to know everything to get started, and you also don't have to be perfect to be prepared. You also don't have to wait for the right time to go after what you want. Every single application you submit, every interview you step into, and every opportunity you explore is building your confidence, your experience, and your future. That kind of growth takes effort. It takes courage and it takes consistency. But every time you show up ready to learn and ready to try, you're already winning. Now, to close us out, I'm Maya Tasker, and it has been an honor wrapping up this meaningful conversation with you all. Thank you for being part of Talk Tuesday this month. Remember, the power of positivity is always within you. So until next time, stay strong, stay curious, stay true to yourself, and stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep leading the way. Bye, guys.